I think that this is an important time to find our permission slips, you know, especially with everything being so chaotic and uncertain and like kind of scary. I think the little things we, you know.
I love that.
Right? Hello. Hi, Jer.
Hi, Celine.
Hello.
Hello. We should do our intro.
I know. We're gonna.
Welcome
to another episode
of
As
Woo.
Woo.
As
You.
What?
That was nice. Hi, everybody. Here we are.
Hi, everyone. We're back. There was
so many issues.
I don't know. There was a lot of, if things sound a little different, it's because there's been a lot of weird technical issues. Celine and I tried recording earlier this week and it wasn't working and we gave up after like an hour of trying different things. There's a few things in retrograde right now, not Mercury, but Mars and something else I'm forgetting right now. But yeah. So, but we're here.
Yep.
We're committed. We're doing this thing.
We're committed. We're doing it.
And maybe...
Who knows how it's going to turn out?
Yes.
What? What were you going to say?
I was going to say maybe you just need a couple of pals during this time of insanity.
Yeah.
So we're here. We want to be here with you. And it's nice to know that there's some people listening and we love you and you're not alone. You're not alone. You're not alone. You're not alone.
What a time.
Yeah.
So initially Jer and I had a little phone gab and talked about the idea of permission slips.
Yes.
Because at the time, 2 weeks ago, last week?
2 weeks ago, yeah.
2 weeks ago, it was fresh on it was on the tips of our tongues. But now, it's hard to feel super excited about a lot of stuff. But, I don't know. So I feel like permission slips, I really know it from, like, that terminology from Bashar, my favorite alien pal.
Yeah, let's translate what permission slip means. It's a really cool concept.
It's a great concept, and everybody does it all the time. So permission slips are basically the idea of using whatever kind of floats your boat or whatever tool or whatever idea or whatever ritual you kind of use daily to almost allow you to tap into some sort of like higher self, higher frequency guidance. Right?
That was great. Yeah, that was a great definition.
God, look at me.
You were on point.
I'm on it. And we all use different kinds of permission slips. And it's, you know, I think what when we talked last week or 2 weeks ago, and then, you know, I feel like what I want to promote is
validity. That's how things are going over here in Lululand.
I just want to promote the validity of everybody's permission slip, right?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
As long as it's not evil.
Exactly. As long as it's not harmful and you're not being a mean, just kind of vile human.
Yeah.
I'll support you. So, I mean, lately my permission slips have been these things. Tarot, crystals, writing down my dreams.
Nice.
And I don't know, screaming into a pillow. No, I'm just kidding. But
it works.
I haven't done that, but it sounds sort of nice.
Oh, it's great. I do it.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Remember when you were into smashing, what was that thing you would smash gourds?
Yeah, that's a Tosha. I mean, Tosha didn't come up with it. It's a ritual that's been around for millennia, but it's a coconut ceremony. So the idea is that a coconut is, and I'm sure there are variations on this, but the way I learned it was that the coconut. If you look at a coconut, it actually looks like a head. There are like two dots for an eye and like a dot for a mouth, and so the idea is that what you can do is you can essentially take the issue that you're having, whatever it is, or issues that you're having, and kind of put it in this container and use the container as a way of releasing it and offering it. So you kind of like sit with the coconut, you have an intention of, what you're offering, what you want to release, what you want to learn or get over or transcend. And then when you're ready, you smash the shit out of it. And, the idea is that in that act, in that symbolic act, the act itself is the offering. And there's an emotional aspect to it too, where it's like, you're probably coming from a place of frustration, maybe anger, maybe exhaustion. And so actually like hurling something, and they're hard to actually break sometimes. So you really have to like give it a go.
Yeah.
That is cathartic. And, ideally the coconut has like milk in it. So it kind of like, it feels
washes
like it's
away
kind of
or
like,
something.
Yeah. It's like coming out.
I mean, that's a great move to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So the gourd was, if people remember, this was, I think, a year ago, actually, around this time, I couldn't find a coconut anywhere in New York.
Oh, yeah.
So I bought a gourd. And, but then crazily enough,
did you like see a coconut or something?
in the summer, I saw a coconut on the street. I was literally in Manhattan on the Upper West Side.
I remember this.
And I was walking, and I had been thinking, I guess it was a manifestation, because for a while I had been thinking about like, it'd just be nice to do a coconut ceremony. Like I still, the money stuff is still really like a thing, even though I feel like it's just going to be I think there's a part of it that's just like my lifetime lesson is part of this. I have stuff in my first, second, and eighth houses. So it's like money, value, worth, blah. Yeah, I literally was walking down, I think it was like 106th Street, and there was a coconut, like right where, the trees are on the sidewalk. And I picked up the coconut. I was a block away from Central Park, and I was like, all right, I'm doing a coconut ceremony. It was beautiful.
Here we go. I love that.
Celine's writing notes.
I'm just writing it down. I love it. Let me live. Let me be my Captain Capricorn.
But the permission slip thing at least came up for me because a couple weeks ago was the Jewish holiday of Rosh Hashanah. And so right now we're in like the craziness of a number of Jewish holidays, which occur every year around this time. The first is Rosh Hashanah, which is the Jewish New Year. 10 days later, you have Yom Kippur, which is the Day of Repentance. And then a week after that, you have Sukkot. And then a week after that, you have Simchat Torah and Shmini Atzeret. So I won't go into like super details about all those things, but basically I was with my family for Rosh Hashanah. Obviously, we weren't going to a synagogue. We were streaming from their apartment. And at least for me, my father's a rabbi, and I grew up with Judaism as being a permission slip. It was kind of that was my heritage. That is my heritage still. It'll never leave me. But, I grew up with that religion, and I'm sure other people who are listening, if you grew up in religious backgrounds, one way of kind of looking at your religion is, I think for some people it's like, it can, at least for I'll speak for myself.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah. I love Judaism. I think there are a lot of beautiful aspects to it. There were also parts, however, that felt very restrictive. And so over time, I became more and more open, willing to release that permission slip. And like, at least for me, I think it's kind of funny and like perfect that one of the people in my life who did that more than anyone was Tosha. Tosha grew up in a family of rabbis. She has 6 rabbis in her like lineage. And she was also raised Jewish, East Coast Jew. And so for me, she was the perfect teacher because she was someone who came from the same background as me.
It was like relatable, very relatable.
100%. And I saw, you know, she was at a different place where like for her, there was just, she like loves Jesus and like talks about Ganesh and, you know, all sorts of Hindu gods and whatever. So that just felt refreshing to me. It felt freeing.
Hold on. I have to interrupt for a moment because I feel like, so in my idea of a permission slip, Judaism or like Catholicism, I don't know if I would call that a permission slip, but I would call Tosha, like when you had her come into your life to show you this other perhaps way of thinking about stuff. I would say maybe that was the permission slip to allow you to be where you are now.
Ah.
Yeah. Because I wouldn't say that, like, from my understanding, I don't equate like a permission slip being like a following a religion. I don't necessarily know if I would say that. I would say like, you know, I don't know. That's not really my definition of it, I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't know if this like throws the whole thing off.
Well, I mean, you're obviously welcome to that interpretation. I guess for me, because
it's like a pass, right? Like a permission slip is like, so it's almost like you're following a path, right? And it's going fine, but you're like kind of needing something else. It's not super resonating with you anymore. And a permission slip would be something you find along that path that like you veer off from, right? Like that for me, you know, finding Bashar or something, right? That was my permission slip. Or listening to Abraham and Hicks when I was younger, or reading a Seth book. Like those were tools which enabled me to grow more. But I wouldn't say, I mean, I grew up Catholic, but I would never call Catholicism my permission slip.
Huh.
So I guess you have a different interpretation of what a permission slip is.
Yeah, I guess for me, I thought a permission slip was...
I mean, not that I'm the boss of what a permission slip says.
No, for sure. No, it's a helpful conversation to have just to see what the concept is for each of us. At least from my interpretation, I thought of a permission slip almost as like any kind of belief system. Like you're kind of using anything to help you conceptualize your existence.
But I would say that's more of just a core belief, right? Like it's kind of like a get out. It's like a pass. It's like an additional tool.
Right.
It's kind of minute what I'm saying, but it's not. Like I would view Tosha and that experience for you as your permission slip.
Right.
But your upbringing of the religious thing, I would say that would be more of just your, like a...
upbringing.
Yeah, or like an upbringing.
Okay.
it doesn't really change our conversation that much, I don't think.
No, it's all semantics.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the moral of the story is, at least for me, like, you know, I don't gain too much out of a lot of the Jewish practices that I used to have, at least for me, because they were restrictive.
Right.
I know for a lot of people, they bring a lot of structure and comfort, and I'm not saying that you can't have that or it's bad or whatever. But personally, for me, growing up the way I did, it kind of had the opposite effect. And I know other people who grew up in pretty religious circumstances, and kind of the synagogue actually that my family belongs to it's kind of all those people who grew up, kind of got turned off by God, and they're like coming back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a lot of that. That. So, I'll plug them. It's Romamu, New York, and we'll link them. They're great.
You mean they left and now they're getting back into it? Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's kind of like the rabbi who founded it, Rabbi Ingber himself, was someone who was raised quite traditionally and had his own kind of period of like leaving the faith and then coming back. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people who find it come from that same mold, where it's like these people who like they got burned by God, whether it was, you know, the patriarchal thing or their family or the community or, you know, gender issues, whatever. And so it's like a very inclusive, welcoming space. That's part of what's called the spiritual renewal movement in Judaism, which is kind of like the hippies, the hippie wing.
The hippie wing. I love that.
Yeah.
The hippie wing.
The hippie wing.
I know, it's so interesting too, like how when you find your permission slips, whatever they may be, or they can be so many different ways, you know, it's all coming back down to like the idea that knowledge and like divinity lies within your.
Oh, you literally just ended when you said divinity lies within your
self. Yourself.
I kind of love that it ended right there, right? Yes.
Listen,
yeah.
The universe is like really not into us doing this podcast today. So many problems. I can't say words correctly.
It's just that time. It's just that time.
So annoying. I'm like not cool about any of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, permission slips. And I mean, so is astrology a permission slip? I'm just very curious now to like understand the permission slips from your perspective. So
yes, I would say yes.
So, okay.
I think, you know, astrology, because like, you know, astrology essentially is trying to get you to understand yourself, right?
Right.
I would say that is, I think any kind of rituals we have, well, with the intent of like working through our, like processing things, I think.
So let me just posit this question to you.
Yes.
Let's say someone who is like looking for understanding or whatever, finds, and I'll just use Judaism as like a tradition that supports or helps them understand themselves in the world and themselves as a person. Would you say that's a permission slip if they haven't come from that before, but now they're like coming to it?
No, not really. I feel like permission slips are smaller.
I see. So like maybe, I don't know if you're talking right now, you're freezing again. The universe is just shutting you down. You there, Celine? Wow. Hello?
I'm not. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it
Celine?
no,
Okay.
like I can't.
You there?
Yeah.
Just going with the flow. Just going with the flow. What I like about this is a part of the reason why I feel like sometimes we don't edit the podcast is I think it's really beautiful and important for people to see things fucked up. Oh, wow. Celine is still frozen. I'll just keep talking until that clears up. But we're presented with so much of the world being a certain way. It's supposed to work out this way. It's supposed to be that way. It's supposed to, everything is supposed to be clean and whatever. And that's just not real. It's just not real, particularly in our westernized culture. So I don't know. It's kind of beautiful to see things fucked up right now.
Yeah, kind of.
With the podcast. I'm not saying in general. There's a lot of stuff that I wish wasn't, but.
Yeah. I don't know. Can you hear me yet? Or
yes,
no?
You're back. Yes, everything's good.
I mean, I was there the whole time. I heard everything you were saying.
We just couldn't hear you.
You couldn't hear me.
So you were saying permission slips are like smaller.
I think they're smaller. Like I don't think it's because like following a new like religion or like that's not so small, like
I mean astrology is really big though too. I don't know.
Yeah, but like I think there's a difference to me between following a religion that is very organized. I wouldn't say Buddhism. If I was a Buddhist, I wouldn't be like, oh, and me becoming Buddhist is my permission slip. I kind of know why you're going to say, but why not? I just don't think Bashar ever presents it in this, like, they're littler moments that can get you to a bigger place.
Got you.
Versus it's not like, it's like a pamphlet versus a novel.
I get you.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, a slip itself is tiny, right?
Yeah, it's a slip. It's a permission slip.
Yeah.
This could be my favorite episode we've ever done.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I think I'll probably freeze because now I'm going to say something and then like it's going to.
I really want to hear it.
I think that this is an important time to find our permission slips, especially with everything being so chaotic and uncertain and like kind of scary. I think the little things
I love that.
Right? Like, have you started doing anything daily that's new?
Wait, before that question, can we just pin that question for 1 second?
Let me write it down. No, I'm just kidding.
You could.
I know I could.
I'm just curious from Bashar's perspective if permission slips are things that eventually you like get rid of. Are you like supposed to, you like work through it with a permission slip and then you're like, okay, I don't need that permission slip anymore. Now I'm on to something else. Or it's just like, it's just a tool for like expansion.
I think the answer is yes to both things.
Like ultimately you won't need any permission slips.
I mean, I guess you could outgrow something, right? You could outgrow some tool that you were using all the time.
Right. Or maybe like you hurt your knee and you can't do yoga. I don't know, or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That
makes sense. Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Anyway, back to your question.
Yeah. Tell me.
I mean, I don't know. Is meditation a permission slip?
I guess it could be.
I write in my journal every day. I assume that's a permission slip.
Yeah. Who was I talking to? Oh, I was talking to our friend Braxton, and I was telling him that I started pulling a tarot card every day, and I was getting really into it. I was like, oh, it's so exciting. Da, da, da. And then he was like, oh, so basically that's your permission slip. And I was like, oh, shit, Braxton.
There you go.
Yes. I didn't even think of that, you know? So,
are you still doing that?
Yeah, I've been doing it for 2 months.
Wow.
Yeah. Every day.
How's it going?
I mean, it's cool. It's also cool to like look back and see like what predominantly I've been like getting.
Pulling.
And yeah, like which cards are like repeating themselves.
Yeah.
What's new, what's old, you know. And it's fun. It's not fun, but it's interesting too because it all kind of makes sense, right? Every card, I'm like, yeah, of course. It's like lots of swords, mental.
Yes.
Duh. It's me. A lot of death. Love it. I like the death, actually. So much hermit. Oh my God, you have no idea. And it's like all the things that I've been being, you know.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I'm real into that. Yeah, the concept of permission slips, I guess I'm not totally clear on. You know.
Yeah.
But then again, it doesn't even really matter, right? Like, it's whatever you need.
Yeah, totally. And again, like, you had said this a while ago, but you said something along the lines of like everything's wasn't everything's real, but like, oh, everything's true and nothing's true.
I mean, that's so accurate, you know?
Feels very apropos for this moment.
I know. I know.
I don't know. I guess crystals, I'm holding some quartz right now. That's kind of been a permission slip just to like ground.
Yeah. I guess like I also view it as a permission slip is something that I do like daily that allows me to tap into like my higher knowing. And so I would say holding a crystal for a few minutes a day kind of grounds you and lets you sort of connect to vibrations that are not, you know, typically what we feel all the time, or pulling a tarot card. So I think they're like smaller little knickknacks.
I mean, if that's your definition, I would definitely say meditation for me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's also, you know, the veil is very thin now between the worlds because it's spooky season.
I know. And maybe
you
this has
excited?
to be a combo episode because I know it's like it's going to be kind of a crazy moon, right?
Yeah, the astrology and the world for the next like 2 to 3 months is pretty bonkers.
It's pretty bonkers, yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's a full moon on Halloween.
On Halloween. That's so dope.
I know, dude.
Can't wait to go to all those Halloween parties. No,
yes.
Not happening. Not happening.
I know. It's not happening at all.
But we could like hang out on a roof together.
That's true.
And stare at the moon. This last full moon was really intense too.
Oh my God. I know. Everybody was beside themselves.
Yeah. Things are bonkers.
I know. I'm also getting a lot of texts from friends about their dreams lately, which you know I'm obsessed with, but everybody's having crazy dreams.
Everyone's having crazy dreams. Absolutely. I've been having pretty crazy dreams. Yes.
Yeah.
That's a great permission slip to write your dreams down. The dream stuff is really amazing. When you kind of start tapping into just symbology, and looking at it from the dream perspective and then actually bringing that over into your life and looking at like, if you look at your waking life symbolically, it's just really, you can tap into some very interesting insights.
Do you think that we'll ever live more like our dreams in our waking life in our lifetime?
How do you live?
Like more magically?
Oh, I have no idea.
It would be cool, though.
I hope so. I feel like it's more than possible. And, you know, the signs point to things finally kind of leaving the material reductionist Western scientific realm, or at least things not being outright rejected if they're not, you know, patriarchal scientific reductionist ideas.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah. And, you know, maybe the aliens will come. Or they'll actually show themselves to us.
Do you think they even want to come here at this point?
I think they do come here. I just think they don't show themselves to us.
No, but I mean, do you think they want to come now? I feel like they're probably like... I don't know. I would question. I would question about visiting at this point.
So aliens aren't permission slips. Aliens are just real.
Yeah. Duh. Of course.
Okay.
I mean, look, you can view permission slips however you want to view them, you know? But for me, they're littler than, you know, aliens are, well, I guess they could be a permission slip. That's all I got. That's all I got today.
I'm trying to think of other permission slips. It's an interesting way of looking at it. I guess my conception of a permission slip is they're different tools to get you ultimately to, I guess, enlightenment or realization.
Well, yeah. So then a tool is different than like, it's a tool, right? Like it's smaller.
Right.
Right. It's like, oh, I need to get, I guess I think of it like if you're in a house and you're in the kitchen and you're like, you know what? I got to go to bed. I got to get to my bedroom. I'm going to use the stairs. To me, the stairs is a permission slip to get you there.
Right.
Right. So a permission slip isn't enlightenment, or it's not.
No.
Right. It's not like it's just like how we get to the place we need to be at. Right.
At least from my perspective, the way I look at it with like Judaism and a lot of, you know, the Judeo-Christian Islamic kind of tradition, not all of it. I'm not speaking about every, you know, aspect of it, but I think a lot of traditional religions created this concept of the you know, God as being the man in the sky who's gonna, you know, smite you if you do something.
I mean, this is also Catholicism.
Yes. No, that's what I'm saying. Judeo-Christian Islamic. So for me, the way I look at that is as a permission slip that's kind of run its course, at least for me. I know for some people, but like what I find, what troubles me is there's still people who think that there is some external God that is kind of divvying up and, you know, judging accordingly to whether you're following these certain rules. And it's like a permission slip that is not helping people. It's like making people contract.
No.
Okay.
That's not like that's too big.
That's too big.
It's too big. Okay. That's not a permission slip. I don't know what that is, but it's not the concept. But I get why you could use
a permission slip to like get out of that framework, maybe.
Yes, more along this line.
Got you.
You can use something that allows you to see your own divinity, right? And that little to get there. But like, it's not institutionalized religion is not a permission slip.
Got you. Okay.
You know?
Yeah, that's helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. It's less big than that.
Yes.
Because it's a little slip. It's like a little piece of paper. But I think the concept, if you like get down to the grit of it, the nitty gritty of it, then I think it becomes murky, because if I say astrology is a permission slip, astrology is like a big, huge, complex system of planetary understanding, right? So maybe it's like, I'm really thinking and searching about how to like learn more about myself and the universe. And then you're walking down the street one day and you see on a stoop a book that's like astrology for beginners.
Right.
And you get the book and then
Yes.
you dive into the world. Like that kind of event, I would say, is more of a permission slip than the astrology itself.
Ah, okay. I like that.
Okay.
I like that.
That was a good one. I'm glad that we didn't break up.
Never, Celine. Never.
No, I meant like the connection. The phone.
You were loud and clear.
Whew.
That's happened to me. That has happened to me. I was once walking to the studio and I literally saw a collection of books on Eastern Parkway. And I like looked around and no one was there, and I looked at the books and it was like just totally all up my wheelhouse. It was like
really?
The Celestine Prophecy, an experiential guide on the Celestine Prophecy. There was a book by I just finished it actually. It's a book, it's an autobiography by Houston Smith, who was a famous religious scholar who taught the different world religions. There was a book about ESP and scientific studies on ESP. There was Kafka's Metamorphosis was in there.
Wait, what?
Yeah. And
when was this?
One other book by, oh geez, I'm forgetting her name. She was a Indian well, she's ethnically German. Shit, I'm looking it up. Hold on a second. Wait, the coconut I found, that was a permission slip.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect example. Perfect.
There it is. Swami Radha.
Okay. Swami Radha.
Swami Radha, Sivananda Radha. The book is called Time to Be Holy, Reflecting on Daily Life. Swami Sivananda Radha. And she was ethnically German, actually. But she went to India and...
you mean she was born in Germany, is what you're saying?
Yeah, and she experienced World War II, which, she wasn't Jewish, but, still devastating for anyone. And she ended up in India, I'm forgetting exactly how, and then... she emigrated to Canada, got kind of in touch with these people who were kind of into Hinduism, and one of the people asked her to look at the photo of their guru, and she literally like went into a vision, and he like spoke to her and was like, you need to come to India. She went to India. She had a vision of, oh my God, names are just escaping me right now. She had a vision of like an avatar. I'm forgetting the avatar's name, who's like essentially a divine entity who's been on planet Earth for like millennia, who a number of different gurus have spoken about, including Yogananda. And she like literally meets him in India and essentially is told like, you need to start a ashram in Canada. And she does an ashram in Canada.
I wish I saw visions.
It was crazy. Like she like explained it, and she was like, you know, people talk about visions as like, yeah, you can like kind of see it. She's like, I literally thought I was like living this thing.
Awesome.
It's pretty bananas. Oh, now I feel so embarrassed. I can't remember the saint's name.
I don't think anybody's going to be mad at you for not remembering.
Please don't be mad at me.
They're not going to be mad at you.
One person's
They like
judging me.
you. One person's judging you, but that's you.
Anyway, so that was definitely a permission slip moment.
That was a moment. Yeah, that was a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're like, you know, that's a good word. I think they're like moments. They're not necessarily these like
grandiose
like events.
Belief frameworks or systems. Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Moments. Okay, that's a very helpful definition. It took the whole episode, but we got it.
It took the whole It took us 4 hours, but we finally got there. Listen, it's spooky season. Everything's in retrograde. We're both stressed out. There's just like a lot of stuff happening, you know?
Yeah. I definitely, that was good. That was a good breath.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good one.
Yeah.
You know, I've been reading a very interesting book about breathing.
Oh.
And it's did you read it?
No.
Are you reading it?
Is it that new book about breathing, though? What's it called?
I think it's called like Breath, the Art of Breathing.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't read it, but I heard about it.
Oh my God. It's the best book ever. It just made me so much more mindful of how I'm breathing and how I'm not really breathing that well and how no one really does. But what the best part to me was the nose. You know when you do alternate nose breathing?
Yeah.
In the book, the guy was saying that your right nostril is more your like active. So if you're tired, if you ever breathe through your right nostril, it will like reawaken you, and your left one is more sedative. So if you're ever having like a panic, like if you breathe just through your left nostril, it will relax you. That's just 2 paragraphs.
Oh, man.
I really suggest everyone to read that book, or you to read that book.
Yeah, that's
really interesting.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so I'm more aware of how I'm breathing.
That's good. I mean, these are the type of things where, like, you know, we're in a pressure cooker, and so it's like, how do you function? And when you can start discovering these techniques, they're amazing.
It's so cool.
I've heard about that book, and it sounds really awesome.
Yeah, it's just the way that we all, you know, he's not like a woo-woo guy, right? So it's also written so like biologically, but there's such a strong woo component that I'm like so psyched by it all. That's
so amazing.
Yeah, a client of mine recommended it to me.
Wow.
So, you know, too bad we didn't like tell like ghost stories or anything on this one.
Maybe the next one.
Yeah, maybe we'll have a ghost story.
It's very possible. Maybe we could just talk about our spooky dreams.
Oh God, imagine. How do you feel? What else? Do you want to gab about other stuff? How long has it been?
Abdi just did a hour-long video podcast, which was really awesome. Just, you know, there were definitely aspects of stuff that we had talked about, but, you know, it's current. It literally, I think they recorded it a week or 2 ago, and I just really got a lot out of it. And so if you're interested in just checking that out, you could find it on his website, and we'll post it. The other thing that I really enjoyed was there's an astrologer that probably a lot of you know. His name is Rob Bresney. He's based out in the Bay Area, and he does a weekly newsletter that's just really great. He wrote this book called Pronoia. I didn't actually read it, but the concept is it's basically the opposite of paranoia. So paranoia is this idea that the world is conspiring against you. Pronoia is the world is conspiring for you. And so it's the whole idea is that the universe is essentially like always blessing you, even if you don't see it that way. Really beautiful concept, really cool dude. And so I'd recommend his newsletter, one, but there's just so many wonderful resources in there. And there's this really great essay that he linked to from 2008, actually. And I'm forgetting the name of the individual. I think the person's name was M.T. Kim. And it was basically all about imaginal hygiene and the concept that we essentially have to take care of our imagination. Just like we take care of our body, just like we take care of our teeth, just like we take care of, our mental health, we actually have to take care of our imaginal health, because there's so much bullshit running around. There's so much fear-based, scarcity-minded, patriarchal crap in the world that we have to really be active with taking care of our imaginal hygiene and realizing that there are other ways of being, there are other ways of living, there are other ways of existing amongst each other. And it's really cool. And it was a talk given at, this is where I may lose some people, but it was a talk given at a fairy convention. And basically the whole...
I mean, listen, you were giving such a great little monologue, and then the fairy thing happened and I perked up. No, I'm just kidding.
But just like aliens, vampires, fairies. So a lot
you
of
mean like a Renaissance fair for fairies?
Like fairies, like the archetype of a fairy, like woodland.
Like a fair, like woodland convention?
Woodland, yeah.
Damn, I wish I was there.
Of some kind.
Okay.
Where it's like, Shaman Durek actually, he was the first person I heard say this, where he's like, vampires, aliens, fairies, all these things are actually real. It's just we're so blind. And so this person... I mean,
a lot of sort of pagan witchcraft rituals, a lot of them involve thinking the fae, the fairy spirits. So...
Exactly.
None of that shocks me.
Exactly. And this is very appropriate for Halloween, I feel, all of a sudden.
All of a sudden.
But basically this person is saying that, a large part of why we can't interact with these beings anymore or see these beings even, and sometimes they don't even see us anymore, is because we're so, our imaginations have been shot, basically. We're not using them the way we used to. We're not interacting in the world the way we used to. We're not interacting with nature the way we used to. Anyway, it's a very long read. We'll link it. Highly recommend if you got some time to spare and don't want to read the fucking news.
The news. Read about this.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's pretty apropos, all that, taking care of yourself. Taking care of your imagination, magical thinking, even though I know magical thinking has a negative connotation. I like it.
I think it's
a
great.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a lot of this article talks about that, the concept of magic and how it interplays with your imagination.
Yeah. Cool.
What about you?
What do you mean, what about me?
You got anything to share with peeps that you've been into
plug?
Besides, the breathing book?
I redid my website so I could plug my acupuncture practice. TrueNorthHealing.net. Boom. Plugging that shit. And besides my breath book...
Your local esoteric acupuncture destination.
Yeah. All your cosmic dreams. All your cosmic dreams can come true in Brooklyn.
Yep.
What else have I been into? I mean... my tarot I've been doing. I haven't been reading any books. But you know what I have been doing, and this is plugging no one, it's taking myself on walks. And it's just very calming. very grounding, and it feels very supportive, right? It feels like I'm supporting myself pretty well in those moments. I would also remind everyone to vote, please, for the sake of the world. That would be fun. And just stay hydrated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Breathe, vote, stay hydrated. I love taking walks. That's great. Just take care of yourself. And I do want to plug one other thing.
Okay.
We've kept our Patreon page up. Why am I like having a hard time?
Because this is who we are today. Neither of us can really communicate that well.
We've kept our Patreon page up, but with the understanding that, you know, sometimes we're not doing episodes every month and Patreon's only like this monthly membership thing. I found there's another site called, funnily enough, buymeacoffee.com.
Sick.
And it's essentially the same concept where you can do a membership thing, but you can also just buy us a coffee. And it'll like, you can be like, I want to buy Celine and Jeremiah 2 cups of coffee, and it's like $5 a coffee. So if you ever listen to a podcast and you're like, you know what, I needed that. These guys, let's get them a coffee. So
let me get them a little treat.
Yeah. So
you're saying you can donate one time. It's a one-time thing. You don't have to do it monthly.
Yeah, you don't have to be like locked into some kind of monthly membership thing if you don't want to. So,
you know what I just remembered?
Yeah.
No, keep going. No, because I feel like I had a dream about about this apartment last night.
Oh, this
now that I'm seeing it.
Just go.
So weird. It just came to me. I don't know.
That was beautiful.
Bizarre.
Let's get into it then. We were supposed to talk
I don't know what
it.
it was. No, I don't know. I don't remember. It was just, a glimpse. But
wow.
Buy me a coffee. There was a dating site that I did for like 2 weeks that was called Coffee Meets Bagel.
I know, I've heard of it. Haven't used it personally.
Boring. Do we have any other announcements? I like that we're making announcements.
Well, the other one that I thought of was if you want, rate the podcast on the iTunes podcast thing.
Yes, on the iTunes podcast thing.
We're very professional. Supposedly that helps other people find us. So if you're into this and you like our banter.
You into this weird vibe we have going on today?
Yeah. If you're also someone who either sees fairies, wants to see fairies, or believes in fairies,
actually DM us because we'd love to talk to you.
Yes.
I would love to talk to someone like who knows a lot about fairies.
That'd be an awesome
It'd be really cool.
guest.
I know.
That'd be really cool.
Okay. All right.
Well, this was an adventure.
This was it was a very interesting ride.
Despite all of the universe's best efforts to hijack the situation.
They did pretty well, though, I gotta say.
Yeah. It's not a smooth ride.
No.
But we finished the ride.
We did. It's like we rode our bikes across America versus flying.
Yeah.
It was fun, though. All right. Well, everybody just take care. Sending you a lot of love to everybody.
Yes. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.